What up, family? Peace and love to you and yours. This is Guru, and thanks for visiting my channel. So, family, this is the poster child of when Twitter trolling lands you in jail. A Dallas case tests the limits of free speech. Let's go to the story. Well, family, Babak Taherzadeh is a troll. One of his Twitter persona boasts the bio, quote, "I'm smarter than you unless you are really smart," unquote. Well, family, it looks like he's not so smart sitting in a jail cell when we are not. But I digress. He claims he has a different sense of humor. He peppers his tweets with profanity. He plays an online character, one he says doesn't reflect who he really is. That character has gotten him into trouble. Taherzadeh sits in the Dallas County Jail where he has been since June, held on a felony stalking charge. He is accused of using social media to harass a judge who oversaw a criminal case against him. Before his arrest, he regularly commented online on political issues and public figures. Taherzadeh believes he was exercising his rights to free speech and to petition the government when he posted negative comments on social media about a state district judge. Yet, authorities see it differently. They say Taherzadeh's tweets threatened physical harm. The arrest warrant affidavit says Judge Brandon Birmingham, quote, is in fear for the life of his family and for his own, unquote, because of Taherzadeh's messages and social media posts. Well, in a time when everyone seems to have an online opinion, when people are emboldened by the anonymity of screen names, the case against Taherzadeh shows the limits of free speech. The First Amendment protects freedom of speech, religion, the press, the right to assemble and to petition the government, and it prevents the government from punishing people who exercise those rights. And though hate speech is protected, there is a line when a person's safety is threatened, legal experts say. Quote, it's always been a huge tension there, the concerns about safety versus having an open dialogue and being able to criticize public officials, unquote, said Leda Knott, executive director of the First Amendment Center. Well, family, before I move on, I'd like to bring up the fact that we know a couple public figures have actually threatened President Obama's life. Is it because President Obama is a black man first, even though he's the president of the United States, but is it because he's a black man first that no one prosecuted those people who made those threats against him or made those people be held accountable? I believe it was a legislator. It might have been a Republican. I'm not positive, but I remember not long ago where he threatened President Obama. And I think that those type of cases should be brought to the forefront when you have a case that's prosecuting or charging a layman, just someone off the street. We need to look at those other cases as well then, because they're not above the law. So moving on. So family, court records show the 46-year-old man used at least 10 Twitter accounts to stalk Birmingham and the judge's family. Birmingham, who presides over the 292nd District Court in Dallas County, had overseen a harassment case against Taherzadeh. The judge declined to comment. Taherzadeh claims he felt Birmingham had mishandled the case against him and unfairly jailed him. He took to Twitter to express his frustration. Records show Taherzadeh tweeted on June 8th, quote, "Wanna see me bitch slap a state district judge? Question mark. I am not one to trifle with," unquote. He also tweeted about Birmingham's wife and children. He spoke out against the Dallas Police Association and a Dallas detective. Most of his Twitter handles have been deactivated, but at least 2 remain. Quote, There were a lot of ugly things, but there's nothing against the law that says you can't be ugly. You can be an asshole. And that's what I tend to be a lot of the time, okay? He says. But that's not against the law. He shrugs off being labeled as a troll. He doesn't think his words bullied or threatened anyone. And, he says, most of the time he was just playing a character. Quote, when I was in court, I said, yes, sir, and no, sir, he says. The way I handled it online, that would not be the way I would handle it with him in person as Babek Taherzadeh. He says many people say things online they wouldn't say to someone's face, even pointing to President-elect Donald Trump's tweets as an example. Taherzadeh says he regrets the cruder tweets of his that landed him in jail. He says he didn't mean them to be taken seriously, and while he sits in jail, he most misses his family, a word he repeats 7 times, but his family was afraid of him. He had grown obsessive about a debt he believes he was owed. His family said he started spiraling after he was evicted and he started demanding money from his brother-in-law, court records show. Taherzadeh was indicted in April 2014 on a harassment charge for threatening to kill his brother-in-law via text messages. Even after his arrest, Taherzadeh continued to email his brother-in-law. Quote, I wanted my money, yeah. I was really bothering him about it. I was trying to make a point, he says, but says he would never hurt his relatives. In June 2015, Birmingham ruled Taherzadeh had violated his bond requirements by sending more emails to his brother-in-law. As a compromise, the judge ordered Taherzadeh to stay off social media and email, records show. By September, Taherzadeh was tweeting again at Rady Balkal, this guy at Judge Birmingham is the guy who threatened me with jail for using social media. Birmingham rescued himself from Taherzadeh's case in October, recused himself, from Taherzadeh's case in October, and Taherzadeh pleaded guilty to the misdemeanor harassment charge in February. He was sentenced to 100 days in county jail, but once out, Taherzadeh started tweeting again. He sent a tweet that included the phrase, quote, pray for the death at Judge Birmingham, unquote. Though he insisted he never meant any of his online statements to be considered actual threats, his online statements toed in line of his constitutional rights. Legal experts say hate speech is protected, ugly speech is protected, profane speech is protected. You can criticize the government and public officials. There is even leeway for obvious hyperbole and joking about violence. Quote, obviously there is a right to criticize the government, even to criticize the government very harshly and criticize a public official harshly, unquote, said Dale Carpenter, a professor at the Southern Methodist University Deadman School of Law. So family, I'm going to repeat this part one more time, and that is that legal experts say hate speech is protected, ugly speech is protected, profane speech is protected. You can criticize the government and public officials. There's even leeway for obvious hyperbole and joking about violence. With that said, family, I don't believe that Babek Taherzadeh should be in jail. I think the judge, Birmingham, he got into his feelings, and he got what the racists always say to us is he got paranoid. I believe that judge got paranoid. He didn't like some of the things that were posted, and really I think the judge should stay off of social media himself instead of asking others to be off of social media, since he doesn't seem to want to follow the rules of what free speech means. But you tell me what you think, family. What's your thoughts? Please like, share, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Peace and love to you and yours. This is Guru, and until the next video, take care.